How do you get 46 of the biggest singers in the world to create a massive supergroup? Well, first you gotta be Quincy Jones, pointing at your sign on the front door of A&M Studios that read, "Check your egos at the door." The now infamous producer Jones placed it there because the nation's biggest singers were all coming here, and they only had one night to record a song that would save lives by raising millions of dollars to help with famine in Ethiopia. What's happening? It was 1985, and We Are the World was the result. This legendary supergroup was called USA for Africa, and with over 20 million copies sold, it is the 8th best-selling physical single of all time. It topped the charts around the globe, and became the fastest-selling US pop single in history, receiving a Quadruple Platinum certification and becoming the first single to be certified multi-platinum. All this, even when one of the superstars kept ruining takes. So stick around to find out who the troublemaker was. It all happened in Los Angeles on January 28, 1985, the night of the American Music Awards, which was held at the nearby Shrine Auditorium. The only feasible way to have all these mega stars in the same town at one time. And the whole process was well worth it, helping to save lives and winning Grammys along the way. 3 Grammys, 1 American Music Award, and a People's Choice. The song was paired with a critically received music video and merchandise that helped We Are the World raise more than $63 million, which would be closer to $149 million today. W.H. Stratton here for What Happened, and if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to hit the thumbs up icon for us, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a release. But let's get to the stars and find out exactly what happened. Lionel Richie. Lionel Brockman Richie Jr. was born June 20th, 1949 in Alabama. As a student, Richie formed a succession of R&B groups in the mid-60s until in 1968, he became a singer and saxophonist with the Commodores. And the Commodores quickly became established as a popular soul group, whose first few albums had such a great danceable funky sound, highlighted by tracks like Machine Gun and Brick House. In 1982, he released his debut solo album, Lionel Richie, and officially launched his career as one of the most successful balladeers of the 80s and all time. After collaborating with Michael Jackson on We Are the World, Richie released Dancing on the Ceiling, his last widely popular album. Since then, his ever more relaxed schedule has kept his recording and live work to a minimum. On May 2nd, 2008, Richie was the 21st recipient of the George and Ira Gershwin Lifetime Achievement Award at UCLA's annual Spring Sing. While accepting, Richie said, quote, "Forget about surviving 30 some odd years in the music business. Lionel Richie survived 27 years of Nicole Richie. Too funny, too true." Today, Lionel is 72 years old and recently had a role in the 2022 movie Studio 666, based on a story from Foo Fighters' Dave Grohl. And in early April of 2022, Lionel will have a weeks-long concert stay in Las Vegas at the Encore Theater. Michael Jackson. The king of pop was born on August 29, 1958 in Gary, Indiana. The youngest of 8 children, Jackson made his professional debut in 1964, alongside his older brothers Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, and Marlon, part of the well-loved Jackson 5. And Michael became a solo star with his 1979 album Off the Wall. But it was his music videos like Beat It, Billie Jean, and of course Thriller that really helped him stand out. In 1986, Jackson, Stevie Wonder, and Lionel Richie recorded a demo with the chorus and solos for We Are the World that was put to tape so the artist would know what to sing when the day came. From the late 1980s, Jackson notably became a figure of controversy and speculation due to his changing appearance, relationships, behavior, and lifestyle. In '93, he was accused of sexually abusing a child of a family friend. The lawsuit was settled out of civil court.
Said this boy.
Totally false. Before I would hurt a child, I would slit my wrists
I would never hurt a child.
And Jackson not indicted due to lack of evidence. But in 2005, he was tried and acquitted of further child sexual abuse allegations and other charges. But the FBI found no evidence of criminal conduct on Jackson's behalf. In 2009, while preparing for a series of comeback events titled This Is It, Michael Jackson died of an overdose of propofol administered by his personal physician Conrad Murray, who was then convicted 2 years later of involuntary manslaughter. MJ was 50 years old. Stevie Wonder. Stevie was born on May 13, 1950, and has been blind since shortly after birth. A child prodigy, he signed with Motown at 11 and was assigned the aptly titled name Little Stevie Wonder. By 1975, at the age of 25, Wonder had won 2 consecutive Grammys, in 1974 for Inner Visions, and in 1975 for Fulfillingness's first finale. Wonder was featured in a duet with Bruce Springsteen for We Are the World, but the recording session was bogged down with Michael Jackson suggesting that they add some African-sounding vocals after each chorus, and Stevie chimed in with the idea that they use Swahili, until finally Ray Charles, the only guy who could pull rank on Jackson and Wonder, put a stop to it all, asking Quincy Jones to ring the bell, meaning to move on. But Stevie would also be a part of more charity singles the following year with the AIDS-inspired That's What Friends Are For. Overall, this incredible one-man band has won 25 Grammys, including a Lifetime Achievement in '96. And Stevie Wonder is the only artist to have won Album of the Year with 3 consecutive releases. Today, the incredible Stevie Wonder is 71 years old and still helping with his music, with the release of 2 singles, Can't Put It in the Hands of Fate, which is a socially conscious funk track, and Where Is Our Love Song, whose proceeds will go towards the organization Feeding America. Cyndi Lauper. Cynthia Ann Stephanie Lauper was born in Brooklyn and always expressed herself with a variety of spunky hair colors and eccentric clothes. She took a friend's advice to spell her name Cindy with an I instead of a Y. In 1978, Lauper met saxophone player John Turry and formed a band named Blue Angel. Steve Mussorgsky, the manager of the Allman Brothers Band, heard their demo and couldn't stop thinking of Lauper's voice. He bought Blue Angel's contract for $5 grand and became their manager. Blue Angel released a self-titled album in 1980, but Lauper hated the album cover, saying it made her look like Big Bird. But Rolling Stone later included it as one of the 100 best new wave album covers ever. Despite critical acclaim, the album sold poorly. It went lead, as Lauper later joked, and the band broke up. Blue Angel had a falling out with Mussorgsky and fired him, and he later filed an $80,000 lawsuit against them, which forced Lauper into bankruptcy. In 1983, Lauper released her first solo album, She's So Unusual, and this unusual woman was now a worldwide phenom, peaking at number 4 in the US. Cyndi was wildly popular with teenagers and critics, in part due to her hybrid punk image. She won Best New Artist at the 1985 Grammys.
Oh, Cyndi Lauper.
And wore almost a pound of necklaces at her award ceremony. And those necklaces got her into some hot water during the recording of We Are the World. Quincy said in a 2018 Vulture interview, quote, "She was effing up every take because her necklace or bracelet was rattling in the microphone. I have never had that problem." Lauper has been an LGBT rights supporter throughout her career, campaigning for equality through various charities and gay pride events. Today, Cyndi Lauper is 68 years old and has been married to actor David Thornton since 1991. Billy Joel. William Martin Joel was born in the Bronx on May 9, 1949. Joel reluctantly began piano lessons at age 4 at his mother's insistence. And as a teen, Billy took up boxing so he could defend himself, and was successful on the amateur Golden Glove circuit for a short time, winning 22 bouts, but he did abandon the sport shortly after his nose was broken in his 24th match. After watching the Beatles perform on Sullivan, Billy Joel decided to pursue a career in music. He said, quote, That one performance changed my life. Up to that moment, I'd never considered playing rock as a career. Joel's first album with Columbia was Piano Man, released in 1973. Despite modest sales, Piano Man's title track became his signature song, and it ends nearly every concert of his. Recording We Are the World wasn't a river of dreams for Billy. On the matter, he said, quote, "Most of us who were there didn't like the song, but nobody would say so. I think Cyndi Lauper leaned over to me and said, 'It sounds like a Pepsi commercial,' and I didn't disagree." New Yorkers can be tough critics. Billy Joel has won 5 Grammys, including Album of the Year for 52nd Street and Song of the Year for Just the Way You Are. On July 18th, 2018, Governor Andrew Cuomo proclaimed the date to be Billy Joel Day in New York State, marking his 100th performance at MSG. Today, Billy Joel is 72 years old and still touring, having just released Places, a digital EP to celebrate 50 years of Billy. And celebrate we do. Willie Nelson. Willie Hugh Nelson was born in Abbott, Texas on April 29, 1933. It was the Great Depression and he was raised by his grandparents. Nelson wrote his first song at age 7 and joined his first band at 10. He made his first record in 1956 titled No Place for Me, but unfortunately that recording failed. In 1972, Willie moved to Austin, Texas, where the burgeoning hippie music scene rejuvenated the singer, and Shotgun Willie was released in May of '73, which garnered excellent reviews, but it didn't sell well, and the album led Nelson to a new style, later stating that Shotgun Willie had cleared his throat. Nelson became involved with charity work, which led to We Are the World. When recording his solo, Nelson misquotes the Bible when he sings, "As God has shown us by turning stones to bread." But hey, I don't mind, this isn't a sermon. For many years, Nelson's image was marked by his red hair, often divided into 2 long braids, partially concealed under that bandana. In 2010, the Associated Press reported that Nelson had cut his hair, which he later sold at auction for $37 grand, which is a pretty good price for hippie hair. Willie turns 89 in April of 2022 and is still doing charity work with his music, most recently live streaming a series of benefit concerts. The first 2 raised more than $700,000, directed to people who had suffered financial loss due to lockdowns. Admirable always. Ray Charles. Ray Charles Robinson was born on September 23, 1930 in Albany, Georgia. Charles began to lose his sight at the age of 4 and was blind by 7, likely as a result of glaucoma. Despite his initial protest, Ray attended school at the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind in St. Augustine from 1937 to 45. He had always played piano for other people, but now he wanted his own band and decided to leave his hometown for a large city. Thinking Chicago and NYC were too big, he followed his friend to Seattle. In 1953, Mess Around became his first small hit for Atlantic Records, and by '59, Charles reached the pinnacle of success at Atlantic with the release of What I'd Say, which combined gospel, jazz, blues, and Latin tones. For We Are the World, only performers and crew members were allowed in the studio. Even Billy Joel's fiancée, the gorgeous Christy Brinkley, wasn't allowed in. Only Ray Charles was allowed to bring his guide to the recording. In 2003, Ray Charles had a successful hip replacement surgery and planned to go back on tour, but began suffering from other ailments. And this titan of music died at his home in Beverly Hills of complications resulting from liver failure on June 10, 2004. He was 73 years old, and in 2021, Ray Charles was posthumously inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. Dan Aykroyd. Daniel Edward Aykroyd was born on July 1st, 1952 in Ottawa, Canada. At 17, he became a member of the short-lived Canadian sketch show, The Hart and Lorne Terrific Hour. Of course, the Lorne being Lorne Michaels, creator of the famed SNL. And Dan was originally hired as a writer for SNL, paid $278 a week, but he soon became an integral part of the cast before the series even premiered. Aykroyd was the youngest member and shone so bright for the first 4 seasons, where he met John Belushi and together created their Blues Brothers. Backed by such experienced professional R&B sidemen like lead guitarist Steve Cropper, sax man Lou Marini, trumpeter Alan Rubin, and bassist Donald Duck Dunn, the Blues Brothers proved more than SNL novelty, taking off with the public as a legitimate musical act. They performed live and in 1978 released their hit album Briefcase Full of Blues. And you're probably wondering what this has to do with We Are the World. Well, Aykroyd was in the chorus, invited to represent the movie industry. Although it was all kind of by accident, Aykroyd said, quote, "My father and I were interviewing business managers in LA, and we walked into this office of a talent manager and realized we were in the wrong place. But he said, as long as you're here, would you like to come and join this We Are the World thing?" Serendipitous. In 2007, Aykroyd and artist John Alexander founded Crystal Head Vodka, a brand of high-end spirits known for its distinctive skull-shaped bottle and for being filtered through Herkimer diamond crystals. Today, Aykroyd is 69 years old and has been married to Donna Dixon for 35 years, with whom he shares 3 daughters. And along with acting and writing, he spends his time researching UFOs. Far out. Who would have thought one of the Blues Brothers was in the chorus? I did not see that coming, but it's probably because I had sunglasses on. Since its release, We Are the World has raised millions for humanitarian causes. 90% of the money was pledged to African relief, both long and short term. Such projects included aid in agriculture, fishing, water management, manufacturing, and reforestation. So let's talk. Did anyone out there ever purchase any We Are the World merch? Who would you have liked to hear on this track that didn't make the cut? Let us know in the comments below. We love to read your hot takes. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel because that simple wrist movement really helps us make more content for you. And together we can all find out what happened.